Hey there. Welcome back to English Rewired, the podcast where we bend your brain and sharpen your English one word at a time. I'm your host, and today we're doing something a little different. No grammar drills, no vocabulary lists. Today, it's all about riddles.
10 of them.
Classic puzzles, sneaky wordplay, and a few that might just make you shout the answer out loud in the middle of the street. Here's how this works. I'll say the riddle, then I'll say it again so it really sinks in. Then I want you to think. I'll drop a few hints along the way if you're stuck. And when you're ready, or when you just can't wait anymore, I'll give you the answer. Let's get that brain warmed up. Riddle number 1 coming right up. Here's your first one. Listen closely. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? Let me say that one more time so you've got it locked in. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? Okay, take a moment. Think about it. What has no mouth, but can still speak? What has no ears, but somehow hears? And this thing needs wind to come alive. Picture yourself outside on a windy day. What do you hear all around you that sounds almost like a voice? Here's your first hint. You've definitely heard this thing before, especially in a canyon, a mountain range, or an empty hallway. Here's your second hint. It repeats exactly what you say back to you. One more hint, since this one's a classic. When you shout into a big empty space, something shouts back the exact same words a second later.
Got it?
The answer is an echo. An echo speaks your own words back to you without a mouth. It hears your voice without ears, and it truly does come alive with the wind-carrying sound across open space. If you got that one, fantastic work. You're clearly a riddle natural. And if you didn't, no worries at all. That's exactly why we've got 9 more coming your way. Riddle number 2. Here it is. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? One more time, nice and slow. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? Now think about that phrase carefully. Taking something usually means you end up with more, and leaving something behind means less remains. But this riddle flips that completely. The more of this thing you take, the more of it you actually leave behind you. That's strange, right? It's not a physical object you can hold in your hand. Hint number 1. Think about walking on sand at the beach or snow in winter. Hint number 2. Every single time you move forward, one appears right where your foot just was. Final hint. Look down at the ground behind you after a long walk. What do you see trailing behind you in a line? The answer is footsteps. Every step you take leaves a footstep behind you, so the more steps you take, the more footsteps pile up behind you. Beautifully simple once you see it, right? If you nailed that one, seriously, well done. That's a tricky one to catch on the first try. Let's keep the momentum going. Riddle 3, and this one's a favorite of mine. Here it is. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? Let's hear it again. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? Take your time with this one. It sounds like it's describing a real place, but it's not, because there are no houses in the cities and no trees on the mountains and no fish in the water. So this thing only represents these features. It's flat, usually, and you can hold it or unfold it in your hands. Hint 1. You'd use this thing before a road trip to figure out how to get somewhere. Hint 2. It's often folded up in a car's glove compartment, or these days it lives inside your phone. Last hint. It shows you where cities and mountains and rivers are, but only as symbols, lines, and colors, not the real thing. The answer is a map. A map has cities marked on it, but not actual houses. It has mountains drawn on it, but no real trees growing there. And it shows rivers and lakes, but you won't find a single actual fish swimming inside it. Excellent job if you got there, and even better if you got there before the last hint. Riddle 4 is next, and it's a fun one. Here's riddle number 4. What has to be broken before you can use it? I'll repeat that for you. What has to be broken before you can use it? Now, this is an interesting one because normally when something breaks, that's a bad thing. It means it's ruined, and you can't use it anymore. But this riddle says the opposite. You actually need to break this thing first, otherwise it's completely useless to you. Hint 1. Think about breakfast. What's a common food you might crack open in the morning? Hint 2. It has a shell, and inside, there's something soft and useful. Final hint. Chickens are famously connected to this thing, and you often break it right into a frying pan. The answer is an egg. You have to crack, or break, an egg shell before you can actually cook with it or eat what's inside. Until you break it, it's just sitting there sealed up and unusable for cooking. Great thinking if you got that one. Eggs are sneaky like that. On to riddle 5. Riddle 5, and this one plays with letters, so listen really carefully. What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? Once more, so you catch every detail. What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? Take a second. This isn't about the length of the physical word on paper, because obviously adding letters makes a word longer to write. This is about the actual meaning of the word changing when you add letters to it. So somewhere, there's a 5-letter word, and if you tack on 2 more letters, the word itself starts meaning something smaller or briefer. Hint 1. Think about the word that describes something not being long. Hint 2. The 5-letter word already means not long, and interestingly, adding letters to it doesn't make it mean long. It keeps that same shrinking idea, just even more so. Final hint. The word you're looking for is spelled short, and when you add er, it becomes shorter, which literally means even less in length. The answer is the word short. Add yar and you get shorter. A word that, ironically, is longer to write but actually means an even smaller amount. Language can be delightfully tricky like that. If your brain caught that twist, take a bow. That's genuinely clever wordplay to untangle. Let's move to riddle 6. Riddle number 6 coming your way now. I have keys, but no locks. I have space, but no room. You can enter, but you can't go outside. What am I? Let me say it again, slowly. I have keys, but no locks. I have space, but no room. You can enter, but you can't go outside. What am I? Okay, so this thing has keys, which usually open locks, but there's no lock here at all. It has space, but not the kind of space you'd walk around in like a room. And you can press enter on it, but there's no way to physically walk outside of it. This should be pointing you towards something you probably use every single day, especially if you're typing right now. Hint 1. Think about the device you're using to type messages or write documents. Hint 2. It has a space bar, and it definitely has a key labeled enter. Final hint. Your fingers are moving across dozens of these keys right now if you're typing on a laptop or a phone. The answer is a keyboard. It's covered in keys but has no locks. It has a space bar but no physical room, and pressing enter doesn't take you outside anywhere. It just moves your cursor to a new line. Wonderful if you figured that one out. Keyboards are hiding in plain sight in nearly every riddle collection. Let's roll into riddle 7. Riddle 7 is next, and here it is. The person who makes it sells it. The person who buys it never uses it. The person who uses it never knows they're using it. What is it? One more time, because this one's a little twisty. The person who makes it sells it. The person who buys it never uses it. The person who uses it never knows they're using it. What is it? This is a classic style of riddle where three completely different people are involved with the same object, but none of them interact with it the way you'd expect. The maker sells it instead of keeping it. The buyer never actually uses it themselves. And the person who does use it has absolutely no idea they're even using it. Think about something you'd buy as a gift for someone who has passed away, or something deeply tied to a final resting place. Hint 1. Think about funerals and what's often placed at a burial site. Hint 2. A carpenter or craftsman builds it and then sells it to a grieving family. Final hint. The family buys it for someone else entirely, and that someone else, being deceased, has no awareness of using it at all. The answer is a coffin. The maker builds and sells the coffin. The grieving family buys it but will never lie inside it themselves, and the deceased person who is placed inside it has no awareness whatsoever that they're using it. A little dark, I know, but that's what makes it such a memorable riddle. If you got there, brilliant lateral thinking. Let's lighten the mood with Riddle 8. Riddle 8. And this one's satisfying once it clicks. Here it is. What gets wetter the more it dries? Let's hear it again. What gets wetter the more it dries? This sounds completely backwards, right? Something drying should mean it's losing moisture, becoming less wet, not more wet. But this riddle insists that the very act of drying something else actually makes this object wetter. So this thing's whole job, its whole purpose, is tied to absorbing moisture from something else. Hint 1. Think about what you grab right after a shower. Hint 2. It's usually hanging on a rack in your bathroom, folded and soft. Final hint. You rub it all over your body to dry yourself off, and the more of your water it soaks up, the wetter it becomes itself. The answer is a towel. Every time you use it to dry yourself, it absorbs the water from your skin, so the towel itself gets progressively wetter the more drying it does. Simple, satisfying, and a great one to share with friends. Nicely done if you caught that. Only 2 more after this. Riddle 9, let's go. Riddle number 9. What has a heart that doesn't beat? I'll repeat it once more. What has a heart that doesn't beat? Now, hearts are famous for one thing above all else: beating, pumping blood, keeping rhythm. But this riddle describes something with a heart that never beats at all. So we're not talking about a living creature here. The heart in this riddle is more of a shape or a central part, not an actual organ. Hint 1. Think about foods, specifically things that grow on trees or vines. Hint 2. Many fruits and vegetables have a central core, sometimes even called their heart, like the heart of a palm or an artichoke. Final hint. Think about a common fruit that has a firm center in the middle, often thrown away, that people sometimes literally call its heart or core. The answer is an artichoke, though many people also accept simply a fruit or vegetable with a core, since the classic version of this riddle usually points to the artichoke, which literally has an edible center called its heart. Whether you said artichoke or just thought of any fruit with a core, you are absolutely on the right track. Beautifully done. Now for our final riddle of the episode. Riddle number 10. Here's our final riddle, and I've saved a good one for last. What can travel all around the world while staying in one corner? One more time, let this one really sit with you. What can travel all around the world while staying in one corner? This sounds impossible at first. How can something travel the entire globe without ever leaving its corner? That's the trick of this riddle. It's not the object itself physically moving in space. It's something small attached to the object that does all the traveling, while the object stays completely still. Hint 1. Think about mail, letters, and packages being sent internationally. Hint 2. It's small, sticky on one side, and gets stamped or postmarked in different countries. Final hint. You'll usually find this stuck in the top corner of an envelope, and it travels wherever that envelope travels, all the way around the world, without ever peeling itself off that same corner. The answer is a postage stamp. It sits quietly in the corner of an envelope, but as that envelope gets mailed from country to country, the stamp technically travels the entire distance too, all while staying fixed in that same corner. Wonderful riddle to end on, and if you solved it, you have officially made it through all 10 riddles like an absolute champion. And that's a wrap on today's episode of English Rewired. 10 riddles down, and hopefully your brain got a proper workout along the way, whether you solved them in seconds or needed every single hint. Riddles like these are fantastic for your English too. They push you to think in a new language, catch double meanings, and really listen closely to how words can twist and turn. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who loves a good challenge, and come back next time for more riddles, more wordplay, and more ways to rewire your English one clever puzzle at a time. Until then, keep thinking, keep guessing, and I'll catch you in the next episode.